Hello. All right, so this is the first thing I'm going to show you. This is a bunch of dried up resin inside the middle. So you just let the stick dry it out. It does not stick to plastic. So, are you guys ready for this? Oop. Okay, it's not supposed to turn out like that. The whole thing just peels right out. That is actually pretty fun to do and to watch, just so you know. Alright, so this is actually what we are going to be using. That's the nice thing about this, is you can do it in plastic and you don't have to continue to throw it away. So it can be reused as long as the inside doesn't have a bunch of yucky stuff in there. Alright. So, okay, what I am first going to do is, this is a 16. I'm going to go 1-to-1 ratio. So this is the hardener first. You want to make sure you are pretty accurate when it comes to measuring that. So this is Stonecoat countertop. This is the craft coat. So this does not have the same heat resistance or UV resistance or work time as their countertop or Arte epoxy. Now I am mixing, like I said, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So now I am mixing my resin. So I always put the hardener in there first, just because if you are mixing, when you are mixing, it is easier for that to, because it's thinner, get off the sides. So if you see how it's kind of swirly looking in there, that means it's not mixed together. So you're supposed to mix this, and like the more you mix it, the more cloudy it's going to get. It will clear up. You just have to mix it for the full, they say 3 to 4 minutes. Scraping the sides and the bottom regularly. If you do not do that, you will end up with not well mixed resin, and you will end up with either spots that harden way too fast, so you will not get the work time and it sets up right away, or you will end up getting sticky. It will never cure. It will stay sticky forever. Completely ruined artwork or countertops or whatever. So it is super important that you mix 1-to-1 and you mix it for the full 3 minutes. A lot of times I will do it for 4. If you're doing like large, kitchen, you're going to need it to mix it for a little longer. But, so yes, just make sure you're constantly scraping sides and mixing really well. Yeah, so otherwise, their craft coat is very similar to, like Envirotex is kind of what I started on. So basically what that is you get about a 45-minute open or work time to make paintings. I would not recommend this for countertops. It does not have the heat resistance, the UV resistance, or the scratch resistance that their countertop or Arte Coat epoxy has. Arte Coat has a lot more UV inhibitors, UV protectant, than even their countertop epoxy does. So if you're doing something white or light, that is recommended. It's going to look super cloudy and full of bubbles. That is okay. You do not have to worry about that right now, because you are going to be torching out all the bubbles. So the heat gun or a torch will help lift all the bubbles to the surface and pop them, so you have that clear, smooth, glassy top, which is kind of what is desired with resin. Let's see. What else? So I always try to put just a little bit of clear down first, just because when you have that, if it's on a canvas, it's not going to move as fluid or smoothly if you're trying to push it across something dry. If you are going over a clear resin, it does go over. It's a lot more fluid and smooth, and the colors, you can just play with them better. And they're still mixing. So yes, I mean, for the craft coat, I would definitely recommend that. For art pieces, I would still go something with some heat resistance for if you're going to do coasters or something like that, benches, anything that's going to be a table that you can set down a little bit of hotter stuff. Definitely use either the countertop epoxy or their art coat. Craft coat is more for paintings and stuff like that. So this runs about $65 a gallon. Alright, I think we just about got this. So what I am doing is I am going to mix, I have a Just Resin titanium white with the Stonecoat base tint white. This is not as much of a true white as this one is. So this is a base tint. You want to put your colors over the top of it, and it's going to create really cool cells. If you just have this more of a truer white, this has more of a grade. You can see it actually really well there. If you put this is an over the top, so it gives it like micro little, like a frothy lacing instead of the big cells that this one will give you. So I like to kind of mix them because then you almost have the ability to do both. Not fully, you don't want to mix too much base tint in your stuff, otherwise you will get, like, the cells will continue to cell up and they will eventually just disappear. So this, once you open it, it's very hard to reopen because it is an oil. It dries quite secure, so it is difficult to open afterwards. If you look, I'm only using just a drop. And shutting it. It's nice and difficult too. Alright, so that's that.
Hey, clean up!
Alright, so I am going to wipe the end of this so I don't get myself all sticky and dip the opposite side. So this is a paste. So you're going to want to kind of mix it up well just to incorporate it because sometimes it can separate. That way, I mean, it is thicker. Don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. These are made just for resin, so they are fully resin pigments, which is nice because it makes it a lot easier to incorporate the colors and stir them in. They get incorporated a lot easier and you don't end up with chunks. So this is Color Art's Wild Coral. So this is actually, it's almost like a coffee grounds texture. But, so this is like, they call it kind of a wet dry paste. It's a powder. You want to put this in first. So I put in, as I just shower myself in a little bit of it. Maybe one more. 3 little scoops of that. I'm gonna try to, wearing white pants, which is super smart when working with resin. So yes. Second one we will be using is my absolute favorite. It's the Resin Arts Purple Galaxy. There we go. So this is the same. It kind of almost has that coffee grounds texture. It looks super dark, but this has the holographic sparkle glitters to it. It is awesome and my favorite, and I need to buy more soon. All right, And the last color, so normally I try to stick between 3 to 5 colors. That way they don't blend as much together. I mean, you want the cells and you want the colors to incorporate over the top of each other, but when they start to overly blend, you're creating a different color. So the easier it is. So this is, again, a paste. This is just Resin's navy blue. So depending on how much you add to this, this can become a translucent or an opaque. All right. Paste, you can do either or. You can put that in pre-mixed resin, or you can wait and do it after. Powders, you almost always want to put the powders in before you put the resin, just because you don't really know. It's a lot harder to mix them in because it poofs, if that makes sense. So we have our colors. I prepped the back of the canvas just because this is a 16 by 20, so it's a little bit bigger. The only issue with it being bigger is because it's stapled on the wood over here, it can droop in the middle, and then your resin, because it is self-leveling to 1/8 of an inch, will all tend to kind of run to the middle. So, what do I want? Now we're going to, and the nice thing about resin is you can mix multiple pigments together, even if they are from different, you know, companies or brands, and they still mix well. So you can create custom colors basically anytime you want, which is really, really cool. I think I want a little bit more of the blue and purple than I do the pink. And I do want a little bit more white. We still have, I guess, a lot of. Now that the basic resin lesson is over, I will fast forward so you guys do not have to hear my small talk, and you can just watch the resin unfold. Bye.